Welcome to the Basic Civil Engineering lecture series by Roy M. Thomas.
Hello. Now we are moving to another module, that is surveying. What is surveying? It is an art. It is an art of determining the relative position of points on the surface of the earth or below the surface of the earth by taking necessary measurements. That is called surveying. So, what are the purposes of surveying? So, if you are taking some measurements, say either length or width or angle, what you are going to do with that readings? With the help of these readings or these values, it is possible to prepare the sketch or map of an area. That is the first purpose of the survey, preparation of map of an area. Now, if I ask you, where is your house? You may say such and such place. Such and such place, where it is, exact location, how you direct me to your house? You may say, after getting down that particular bus stop, I have to walk say 100 meters straight, then turn say 90-degree and walk another 30 meter. What is the purpose? To reach your home, that is to locate your house. This 100 meter turning 90-degree, 30 meter, etc., this is also survey. So, that is the next purpose of the survey, that is to locate any building. You require survey work, to locate buildings, bridges, dams, etc. So, preparation of sketch map, location of any buildings, bridges, dams, etc. Now, if I ask you what is the height of your room, immediately you may be able to say 3 meter or 4 meter. But if I ask you a building which is far away from your present location, you may not be able to say immediately, or without going there, you may not be able to say it exact height. But with the help of the surveying instrument or with the help of the survey, it is possible to say what is the exact height of that far away object or building from here itself. That is also another purpose of the survey, to find height of any object. So, these are the purposes of survey: preparation of map, locating building, and find height of any object. There are different types of survey types. The first one, chain survey. Second one is compass survey. Third one, plane table survey. Fourth one, theodolite survey. And photographic survey. So, leveling is also coming as a part of these surveys. So, now we will concentrate only these 5: chain survey, compass survey, plane table survey, theodolite survey, and photographic survey. The first one, chain survey, where the linear measurements are taken, that is the distance between 2 points, say from A to B or B to D. So, like that, length or distances, linear measurements are taken. In compass survey, horizontal angle is taken. Say for example, assume one point is here A, another point here, and assume this point as O. Now, what is this angle? That is measured with the help of compass survey. Now, all these two cases, that is chain survey and compass survey, measurements are taken in the field. After coming to the classroom or office, it can be transferred to your drawing sheet or graph sheet, whatever it is. But whereas in the plane table survey, actually there is a drawing board, that is called the plane table, with a tripod and all. So, while sighting this point, say A, immediately you can draw that line. while sighting B you can draw that line. So, without wasting the time immediately you can transfer the lines or the points in the field itself, that is the advantage of plane table survey. Okay. Third one, theodolite survey. In compass survey, horizontal angle is measured. In theodolite, in addition to horizontal angle, vertical angle is also measured, vertical angle, say from horizontal axis to a particular point, vertical angle. Here horizontal angle as well as vertical angle is measured. And photographic survey, as you know, that will give the complete details about an area, taking aerial photographs. So, these are the different types of survey. Nowadays this GIS and all, it is famous. By sitting here you will be able to find what is happening outside. So, that is advanced version of this photographic survey. Now, out of these 5 different types of survey, we will be concentrating only on the first one, that is chain survey. Instruments used in chain survey. Instruments used in chain survey. So, there are different instruments used in chain survey. One instrument immediately you can say what is that? That is, yes, chain, chain. Then peg, arrow, ranging rod, then plumb bob, then cross staff, of course sometimes tape is also used. So, these are the instruments used in chain survey. This is important. Instruments used in chain survey: chain, peg, arrow, ranging rod, plumb bob, cross staff and tape. Now, we will see one by one. The first one, chain, which consists of galvanized iron links like this. With a 2 brass handle at 2 ends. Brass handle, brass handle. One brass handle here, another brass handle here. The length of a chain is 20 meter or 30 meter. That means 20 meter length chain is available, 30 meter length chain is available. 2 types are there. Every 1 meter length there is a brass ring, say 1 meter from one end. Assume here is 1 meter. There will be a brass ring, brass ring, brass ring. And every 5 meter length, 5 meter length, every 5 meter length, there will be a brass tally, tally, tally. So, every 1 meter length there is a brass ring, every 5 meter length there is a brass tally. Next 10th meter tally, the shape will be like this. Center tally, the shape will be like this. So, every 5 meter length there is a brass tally, and these are called the links. These are called the links. So, chain consists of so many links, usually 100 links. So, 20 meter chain, 100 links, that means one link is 20 centimeter. One link means from here up to here it is 20 centimeter for 20 meter chain and 30 centimeter for 30 meter chain. So, chain consists of galvanized iron links, and every 1 meter length there is a brass ring, and every 5 meter length there is a brass tally. That may be different for engineers chain and surveyors chain. There will be slight difference regarding the arrangement of this tally and brass ring. Okay, chain is used to measure the distance between 2 points. So, this is the first instrument used in chain survey, chain. These are the galvanized links. This is 20 meter chain. So, this link, one link is 20 centimeter. This is the brass handle. Then as I told you, every 5 meter length you can see the tally. So, this is the tally, and you see this is the center tally. center tally 10 meter is written there. This is the second tally. So you can see two projections or one groove. So this is the brass handle at the next end. So if you want to measure the length, you have to stretch the chain and measure the length. Next is peg. Peg is made from well seasoned timber, about say 20 to 25 centimeter length, made like one end is made sharp like this, about this much height, 20 or 25 centimeter, one end is made sharp. The peg is used to mark the station point. What is meant by station point? Suppose if you want to measure an area, assume there is an area like this. So, one of the purposes of the survey is to plot it. To plot it, you require the area. The simplest method is divide this area into triangles and trapeziums like this. So, assume A here, B here. Now, we will call this C, D, E, F, G, H, I and J. So, if you know these two sides, you can calculate what is this area. If you know these three sides, you can calculate this area. Similarly, you can calculate all these areas. So, if you add, you will get the total area. Now, here you see all these measurements taken from the line AB. Here A and B are called station points. Station points. So, to mark the station points on the ground, peg is used. So, the use or the purpose of the peg is to mark the station points on the ground, that is to mark A and mark B. Peg is used. This is called peg, about 20 centimeter length. Here you see one end is made sharp. So, if you want to mark the station point on the ground, you have to fix it on the ground. This is also used for the same purpose, another type, that is all. Next is arrow. It is made from mild steel, 4 mm diameter mild steel. One end is made sharp, a loop like this, the other end is made sharp like this, about again 30 to 40 centimeter total length. The purpose or the use of the arrow is, you have a chain say 20 meter length. If this distance AB is less than 20 meter, it is very easy to measure the distance, just stretch and measure. But if that AB is say 100 meters, you have only 20 meter chain. At least 5 times you have to stretch the chain, extend the chain. So, every full chain length 20 meter, drive an arrow, next 20 meter, drive an arrow, next 20 meter, drive an arrow, next 20 meter, drive an arrow. After reaching here, you can come back and count the number of arrows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, that means 5 into or 4 into 20 meter, that is the total length. So, arrows are used to mark full chain length on the ground, 20 meter or 30 meter on the ground. If you have only one chain, usually there will be only one chain to conduct a survey work in the field. So, arrows are used to mark full chain length on the ground. Arrow, it is made from 4 mm steel wire, and you see here one end is made a loop like this, the other end is made sharp. This is used to mark full chain length on the ground. So, every 20 meter or every 30 meter length of the chain on the ground, you have to drive this. Now comes the ranging rod. Ranging rod, it is about 3 to 4 centimeter diameter, made from well seasoned timber, or it is made from steel pipe. The height is about 3 meters and one end is made sharp like this, and every 20 centimeter length, every 20 centimeter length, it is painted as white and black or red and black, white or black, white and black or red and black. That means 20 centimeter red, next 20 centimeter white, next 20 centimeter red, next 20 centimeter white. Similarly, or first 20 centimeter black, next 20 centimeter white, like that. Alternate bands are painted as red or black. So, white and red or white and black. The use or the purpose of the ranging rod is, as I told you, if the length exceeds your chain length, you have to extend the chain, stretch the chain. So, when you stretch the chain, there is no guarantee that the chain is going exactly in this line AB. When you stretch, it may go like this, when you stretch, it may go like this. So, but what we want is the straight distance AB, that can be achieved by the help of ranging rod. So, what you have to do is, you have to fix a ranging rod at A, fix another ranging rod at B, and ask your assistant to come to this line AB by standing here. Assume this is the ranging rod, I can stand here and assume this is the first point A. Now, keep another ranging rod at the last point. Now, by standing here, I will be able to see first ranging rod and the last ranging rod in the same line. Now, I can ask my assistant to come to this line with another ranging rod. So, I will be able to see the 3 ranging rods in the same line, or I will be able to see only one ranging rod. That means all the 3 ranging rods are in the same line. So, like that I can mark any number of points between A and B in this line. Okay. So, once you get these points, you can stretch the chain along these points, so that you will get the straight distance. So, to mark the intermediate points, ranging rods are used. So, the purpose or the use of the ranging rod is to mark intermediate points between 2 extreme station points. This is called a ranging rod. It is having a 3-meter height. And every 20 centimeter length, it is painted as red, white, red, white. Similarly, black, white ranging rod is also there. You can see the other end, the bottom end is sharp. This is used to set out intermediate points between 2 extreme station points. Assume this is the first point. Now, I want to set out intermediate points between the first point and the last point, which is far away. Distance is more than the chain length. So, stand in front of the first ranging rod, fix a ranging rod at the last point, and give instruction to your assistant to come to this line. Either I can give instruction from here, move right or left. At one particular position, I will be able to see the 3 ranging rods in the same line. So, that means that 3rd ranging rod is on that line AB. Ask him to fix. So, like that you can fix any number of ranging rod between the first ranging rod and the last ranging rod. So, this is used to mark intermediate points between 2 extreme station points to get the straight distance. Next comes the plumb bob. So, all of you might have seen this. Usually these masons are using this. There will be a wire or a string attached with a weight at the bottom. That is used to check up the verticality of the ranging rod. When you keep the ranging rod here or in between A and B, it should be exactly vertical like this. It cannot be like this or cannot be like this. To check up the verticality, this plumb bob is used. So, plumb bob is used to check up the verticality. Now, how to check up the verticality of the ranging rod? Now, you assume if the ranging rod is like this. If you keep it like this, you see this distance is not equal to this distance. That will be equal only if this ranging rod is exactly vertical. If this weight is just touching, you can see this distance is equal to this distance. That means it is exactly vertical. So, plumb bob is used to check up the verticality of the ranging rod. This is what exactly the masons are using to check up the verticality of the masonry, plumb bob. Next comes the cross staff. Cross staff. 2 types are there. The commonly using one is a wooden cross staff. There is a wooden block like this, and 2 narrow slits are provided like this, perpendicular to each other like this, with a pole or a stand. So, this is the wooden cross staff. The purpose or the use of the cross staff is to set out a perpendicular offset. What is meant by perpendicular offset? Here you see that this is line AB, this is the point C, and this line is CH. Okay. Now, these are called the offset. The measurement or the line taken, from or the line taken from the main line. This is called main line or chain line or base line, main line. The measurements taken from the main line, it is called offset, and if it is 90 degree to the main line, that is called perpendicular offset. If it is not 90 degree, it is called oblique offset. Now, point A is well defined, C is well defined. That means you know point A, you know point C, but the position of H is not known. So, to mark the position, to locate the position of H on the line AB, cross-staff is used. The procedure is like this: keep a ranging rod at C, keep a ranging rod at A, keep another ranging rod at B, keep a ranging rod at C, A and B. Now, with the help of this cross staff, look through this slit and move it like this until you able to see the ranging rod at B. So, when you able to see the ranging rod at B means you are in the line AB. Only in this line you will be able to see the ranging rod at B. So, that means you are now on that line AB. Now, look through the other slit. Previously we looked through this slit, now look through the other slit and move in this direction, until you see the ranging rod at C. So, once you get the ranging rod at C through that slit, that means you are exactly at H. So, that is the purpose of cross staff. So, I will explain once again. Keep ranging rod at B, ranging rod at A, ranging rod at C. Look through one slit and move in this direction until you get the ranging rod at B. That means once you get the ranging rod at B, you are in this line. Now, look through the opposite slit through this. Then move in this direction until you get the ranging rod at C. Once you get the ranging rod at C, you will be exactly at H. Now, mark that point on the ground, measure this distance, you can calculate the area. So, cross staff is used to mark the perpendicular offset. This is the perpendicular offset. So, this is the wooden cross staff. Here at the top you can see two narrow slit perpendicular to each other. This is used to set out the perpendicular offset to a baseline or a main line. So, the procedure is like this: fix the ranging rod at the points, extreme points of the baseline, then to the point where you want to set out the perpendicular offset. Now, look through this narrow slit and move it slowly like this until you get the ranging rod. If you get the ranging rod, that means you are on that line. Now, look through the opposite slit and move it either left side or right side until you get the ranging rod. If you get the ranging rod, that means that is the required point. And the last equipment or the instrument is tape. Or if you are familiar with the tape, there are linen tape, metal tape, etc. So, that is also used to measure the distance between 2 points. Next instrument, tape. This is the linen tape. Here you can see one side it is marked in meters, other side it is marked in inches. So, you can measure the length either in inches or in meters. So, these are the important instruments used in chain survey. It is important. Chain, that is used to measure the distance between 2 points, consists of galvanized iron links. 20-meter chain is there, 30-meter chain is there. There are 100 such links in 20-meter chain as well as in 30-meter chains. That means one link is 20 centimeter in 20-meter chain, 30 centimeter in 30-meter chain. Peg, that is used to mark the station point A, station point B in this case. Arrows are used to mark full chain length on the ground, because you have only 20-meter or 30-meter chain, the distance is more than that. So, every chain length, full chain length, you have to mark it on the ground. Ranging rod, that is used to mark the intermediate points between two extreme station points to get the strike distance. Plumb bob, to check up the verticality of the ranging rod. Cross staff is to set out the perpendicular offset. Tape is also used to measure the distance. Thank you.